Hello, I'm Kieran, and this is the reading of Chapter 3 of A Silent Kind of Strength by King Crusade on AO3. Chapter 3. Izuku gripped tight to the straps of his bright yellow bag as he booked it out of the school. He didn't have time for any more bruises and insults. He had dealt with the ones from lunch by taking a quick bathroom break in the last period. He had compared pricings and shipping time late Sunday afternoon, and he found there was a large mechanics store a few neighborhoods over from the dojo. He decided that he would save money that he would otherwise spend on shipping by stopping there and get the parts that he would need to tinker with his hearing aids. To have time for that, he'd need to skip on stopping by his apartment. His change of workout clothes were in a nearby empty bag, so he could load up on what parts he could afford, change, and rush to his class. He had contemplated skipping this lesson, but after Friday's debacle, he didn't think his sensei and Kohai would appreciate that. So his jog would have to be a bit more brisk than usual. He was glad, in a sick sort of way, that Kachan was still recovering in the hospital. It meant the bullies were a bit more lenient today and gossiped about what they had seen on the news. So running didn't hurt too bad, even if his still kind of sore lungs protested a bit. The run luckily wasn't too long and followed the map of his phone right up to the front of a rather large shop. It looked more like a warehouse, really. A warehouse with glass doors and a sign on the front that said Hatsume Parts and Repairs. He took a moment to catch his breath and wipe the sweat off his face before he went in. Immediately he was assaulted with the scent of oil and rubber. It looked like a small part of the front of the building was sectioned off with large glass partitions. The area Izuku was in was some sort of lobby. There's a desk with a computer, a couple of lightly grease-stained chairs, and some slightly dusty fake plants. Beyond the partitions, he could see what looked like a workspace. Up past were rows and rows of shelving packed full of boxes, some of them spilling out wires and a bit of metal. As he wandered further, he noticed a button on the desk with a little handwritten note that says, "Press for help." With a shrug, the teenager did just that, and nearly jumped out of his skin when what sounded like a foghorn set off somewhere, deeper in the building. He then winced at the slight feedback from his hearing aids. He really needed to try and make better ones. Before he could really think about the obnoxious sound too much, there's a woman sweeping through and between shelves further in the building. Red dreadlocks are pulled back into a ponytail, and she got closer and locked silver eyes with green. She waved a dirty hand as she got closer, a smile lighting up her face. "Hello!" Her voice was cheerful, and it opened a glass door that blended in so seamlessly with the rest of the partition that he hadn't even noticed it. "Welcome to my shop. It's rare to see someone so young in here. Is there something I can help you with? A school project? A repair job?" Izuku smiled nervously. He had realized the stranger was speaking to him all in exclamation points. No ma'am, I just needed some parts." Her face seemed to light up a bit more, if that was possible, and her ponytail bounced a bit, and she shifted behind the desk. "Is that so? Awesome. What do you need?" "If I don't have it on hand, I should be able to order it for you." Izuku quickly dug the last of his backpack. I need 2 of these each, please." He flinched slightly as she snagged the paper out of his hands, throwing herself into a tiny chair behind the computer where she set to work, quickly searching and what he assumed was an inventory. "Wow, these are a lot of tiny, delicate pieces. What are you working on? A mini noise phone?" Izuku blanched behind his freckles and waved his hands in denial. No, nothing like that. With a sigh, he pushed his hair away from the bulky casing behind his ear. "I just wanted to make some improvements, is all." The teenager will forever refuse to acknowledge the sound he made, next as the screech of a grown woman launched herself half over the desk at him. "Wow, that's ancient design. Who even sells these anymore?" She then cackled. "Ha! What a fun project. You have got to show me what you came up with, okay?" The confused greenette nodded hesitantly. "Oh, I'm Hatsume Miya, by the way. It's nice to meet you." She stuck out her grease-stained hand, still hanging half over the desk. He hesitantly took it. "Midoriya, Izuku." She nodded decidedly and finally plopped down back onto the much-abused chair. "Well, Midoriya-kun, unfortunately I can't seem to have a few of these parts in stock. I can order them for you, though. My deliveries come every Wednesday, so I can have these set by then. If you like, I can get you the parts I do have right now. Or I can gather them up and put them in others so they can come in. Izuku was starting to feel a little overwhelmed dealing with the whirlwind of a woman, so he just nodded. That should be fine, Hatsume-san. How much do I owe you? White teeth flashed in her dirty face as she smiled once again. Well, let's see. There's quite a few parts. But if you're willing to wait, I'd love seeing young people trying to build. How about I give you a new customer discount? Let's say when you come by Wednesday, you'll owe me 550 yen? Izuku was sure he stopped breathing for a minute. But that's half of what they're worth. She grinned. Maybe, but it's my shop. I name the prices. Just show me your work, and when you finish, you're all good. Anyways, see you Wednesday, Midoriya-kun. With that, she shoved the list into the pocket of her coveralls and danced away back to the boughs of the building. Green Eyes closed and watched her, dumbstruck, until his phone vibrated with the alarm that he had set to dash out the door to get to his class. He made it with just enough time to go to the restroom and change. When he bowed onto the floor, he was met by his sensei and Kohai's matching glares? Concerned looks? He wasn't sure. All that he knew was Kuma-chan had never looked more like her father than she did in that moment while they stood side by side, bear-shaped ears attentive, brown eyes laser-focused on a small teenager, and a tiny sliver of fang poking out from behind a slight frown. Good afternoon, Sensei Kuma-chan. Sensei's frown deepened a bit, and Izuku tried mentally backpedaling to figure out what he did wrong. But his Kohai speaks before he could try and apologize. Midoriya-kun, are you sure it's not too soon for you to be back in class? It's only been a weekend. The freckled boy tried to keep the sinking feeling in his gut away from his face. They don't want him here. He's a weak burden, like always. I'm really feeling okay, I swear. The Mirokuma shared a loaded look before the younger shrugged and the older grunted and turned back to Izuku. Okay, fine, you can participate, but if you start feeling off, let us know and sit out immediately. You just ran through a villain attack, and it's okay to not feel fine after something after that. Got it? Izuku nodded quickly and bows. Yes, Sensei. Thank you, Sensei. Kuma-chan sighed quietly as her dad walked away. Okay, Midori-kun, hearing aids out, let's get some good practice in today since you're staying. He did his best to smile at her as she did what he told, ignoring the looks he was getting from the other kids in the class as he walked over to his usual spot near the back wall. Izuku swore that this was the longest class he ever had to go through at the dojo. The whole time he could see the others, who usually ignored the weird deaf kid, whispering amongst himself and glancing at him. He couldn't hear them, obviously, but he could tell their inattention was annoying Mirokuma-sensei by the number of extra reps they were all made to do. He did his best to keep his focus on Kuma-chan. She was constantly signing in between sets, letting him know what they were gonna do next, and slipping a sneaky comment or joke about their classmates when she was sure no one was looking. As he wandered home, going the long way around, he checked his phone. His mom might be home by the time he got there. She shouldn't have a double today. But that means if he gets there quick enough, he could do all the prep, and they could cook dinner together. With that happy little thought, he puts more pep in his step and gets home a bit faster. He made it with time to spare. He hurried through the shower, doctoring the various old bruises and cuts, then rushed to pull the ingredients for vegetable curry he knows his mom loves. He started washing the veg. He knows that's his mom's least favorite part, so he does it whenever he can. He's almost done washing everything when he saw a flash on his phone from the counter where he had left it. He snagged it to see a message from Inko. Sorry, baby. They asked me to stay a few hours late. I probably won't be back until midnight. Don't forget to eat something. The familiar ring of disappointment sounds in his chest. Oh well. Might as well finish what he started. He would leave a plate for her to heat up when she got home. He was sure she will appreciate it. The curry isn't quite as good as when his mom made it. She has a way with spices, but it was alright. Izuku dawdled through his solitary dinner, distracting himself with Twitter, catching up on hero news and wincing at the rather angled picture of the back of Mount Lady. He was sure the person who took the shot got paid well by the news source. It didn't take long to finish eating and clean up the kitchen, leaving a note on the counter to tell his mom that she had food in the fridge. He went to his room, feeling kind of tired, but knowing that he needed to write another copy of the assignments that's due for English class the next day. Between his schoolmates and his teachers, he knew better than to only have one copy. He set to work, half his mind planning of what high school workbooks he would crack open once he was done. The math one was interesting, if he remembered correctly. Who needed sleep when his future depended on him studying everything he could, after all? After all is said and done, thank you for listening.